Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Game Sack.
Yes, and in case you were getting a drink or something during the intro, you probably noticed some Christmas music and snowflakes. That's because this week we are focusing on the Super Nintendo and some of its games. And that for me is Christmas.
Yeah, we're taking a look at shooters on the Super Nintendo because it's basically a genre the system isn't very well known for. Basically thanks to its super slow, crippling processor.
Well, yeah, it is slow, but you know, it's probably not as slow as, say, the ColecoVision.
Well, actually it is. Anyway, Dave, what shooters have you selected to take a look at this week?
Well, I'm going to take a look at this fine assortment of shooters.
Ooh, let's see them.
Gradius III is a good shooter for the SNES. It's a very close port from the arcade version. I really like the Gradius series, and this is one of the best entries in my opinion. It's got beautiful graphics with rich, deep colors. It's got one of the best soundtracks to any game out there. Every track is good and makes you feel inspired to kick some bacterium ass.
Where's the sound test, Konami? God!
Yeah, no kidding, man. Come on, Konami. One thing about Gradius that people either love or hate is the way you power up your ship. By collecting red icons, you can boost a weapon select bar at the bottom of the screen. Each icon collected will highlight the next weapon that can be activated. Once you select a weapon, the meter resets and you have to collect more red icons to get to the next power-up you want. To get your ship fully powered up, you will be collecting a lot of icons. Once your ship is fully powered up, the game becomes much easier. But once you die and lose all of your weaponry, the game becomes almost impossible. I, for one, like this weapon system as it adds a bit of strategy. The only real flaw that this game has is that it has a ton of slowdown.
A ton? The entire game is slowed down. I don't think it runs at normal speed even once as long as you're firing your weapon.
Other than that, this might be the best shooter on the SNES.
Yeah, this one is definitely awesome.
UN Squadron. Firstly, why would they name a game after a useless outfit like the UN? Maybe they were useful back when they were first formed, but nowadays, I don't think so. I digress though. This game can be fun if you let it.
If I let it? Maybe if I'm in a good mood, I'll consider it.
It's got some really pretty graphics with some good colors. It's also got a ton of options to keep you interested. Options to buy new planes that can use certain weapons. It's got quite a wide variety of level types, from typical shooter to bombing runs. The huge downfall here is the music. It's typical crapcom music. The melodies are okay, it's just that it's 100% reverb with really horrible synth. It's ultimately headache-inducing crap. It's almost enough to make you want to stop playing.
Yeah, the horrible music is honestly the reason I stopped playing back when I rented the game in 1992.
There is a bit of slowdown here and there, but overall it's a decent game. Here we have Phalanx, and there is nothing special about this game. Everything about the shooter screams mediocrity. Your ship is just blah, the graphics are just blah, the music is just blah, and the sound effects are, yep, you guessed it, blah.
Oh, this game is absolutely ridiculous. Super long and boring stages, puny ships with puny weapons, hardly ever any power-ups, bosses take like 5,000 hits to defeat. Not much going for this game, I'm afraid.
The box art for this game might possibly be the most interesting thing about it. It has some man from North Carolina picking a banjo while a spaceship flies past him in the background.
Oh man, the box art is absolutely the best part of this game.
Anyways, if this game isn't in your collection already, there is no real need to make it a point to go look for it. If you run across it in the wild for cheap, then pick it up and prepare for mediocrity. Peroneus is a very fun take on the Gradius style of game. Everything about the Gradius style of game is here and a little extra. You can pick up to 4 types of ships with different weapon layouts. Also included is the bell power-up from the Twin B series.
I hate those damn bells.
Different colored bells have different abilities. The ships are usually goofy things such as a penguin, pig, octopus, or even the super awesome Vic Viper. As some of you might guess, this is the ship that I use the most when playing this game.
Me too!
The levels are all great with bright colors and tons of humor throughout, with a fairly entertaining boss fight at the end of each level. Music for the most part is very catchy and enjoyable. With infinite continues, it makes it a game that can be beaten fairly easy. A great game, and I would suggest you pick it up even at the current eBay prices between $30 and $60. It's really a shame that this game never made it to the USA, as I think it would have been very popular. Chatting Proteus Live continues the zaniness of the Peroneus series. Everything you would expect from the series is here. It's got beautiful graphics with funny themed levels, characters, and bosses. This time around you can pick from 16 different characters, and each has their own different type of weapons and power-ups. Some are similar to others, but not as simple as just color palette swaps. Each character has their own level intro music before the stage music starts. This adds a lot of detail to the game. As the title indicates, there is a commentator that talks throughout the game. What he says I can't tell you, as it's all in Japanese. If somebody out there knows what he's saying, please tell me, as I am interested.
Pretty impressive for a cartridge game.
Yeah, the only thing Sega has to compare is Sports Talk Football.
Oh, that's cold, man.
Anyways, another great shooter for your SNES and worth the asking price.
The Saturn version is better. Wow, Dave, those were some pretty good games in there, and also a really mediocre one. But I guess when a system's not very well known for shooters, you gotta include it.
Well, that's true. I mean, not every game can be great. So, what games did you pick, Joe?
I picked these. And you know what? My selection is far more interesting than yours, I gotta tell you.
Well, there might be one or two that might be better, but we'll just see about that. Let's take a look.
Although my favorite version of Archetype is and always will be the TurboGrafx 16 port of the original arcade version, it is worth looking at some of the sequels on the Super Nintendo, even though they simply cannot hope to stand up to the original.
Joe, why would you say that? Are you just trying to piss me off?
Super Archetype was released in the US around the launch of the Super Nintendo. It's a hybrid of R-Type 2 and it has its own original levels as well. The first thing most people notice about this game is the crippling slowdown, almost to the point where the game is paused.
I kinda like that slowdown, as it gives my super slow brain time to think.
Yeah, finally admitting your deficiency, Dave. Still, the graphics here are pretty good, and some of the music, especially the first level, is outstanding. The game itself is pretty damn tough. If you die, you go back to the very beginning of the stage, and that's just stupid. I mean, really, why not just give you one life, no continues, and make it so you can't even play the game for 48 hours once you die? That's the only way I think the developers could rub it in more. Anyway, I don't think it adds anything interesting to the R-Type series, but it is worth grabbing for a few bucks, if only for the music. Archetype 3 was developed a few years later specifically for the Super Nintendo. Due to the programmers being used to the system as well as being specifically designed around the SNES hardware, there is much less slowdown here. It's still here in spots though. I like how some of the bosses from the first game make a cameo appearance here. The graphics are pretty good for the most part, though they're a little bit vacant in some areas. The difficulty curve is just ridiculous. I mean, stage 1 is so easy that a blindfolded deaf kitten with one leg could do it without getting hit in its sleep.
Yeah, that's true. But stage 2 really, and I mean really, ramps it up though.
Yeah, it does. In fact, I hated the difficulty at first, but I found myself saying just one more time at each and every continue screen for hours on end. Fortunately, there are unlimited continues. This is the kind of difficulty I refer to as challenging, as it challenges you to keep trying again and again rather than punishing you. You'll need a lot of time to memorize all the patterns, but it's worth it.
Space Megaforce, presented by Toho.
Naturally. Space Megaforce is hyped as one of the best vertical shooters ever made by some people, and it's definitely a good game. The control feels really nice, and overall it's pretty fun to play, but otherwise I don't see why people go nuts over this game. It's your basic overhead shooter from Compile. That's right, the developer that is most famous for Ghostbusters on the Sega Genesis.
What? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, they made Ghostbusters. This game is actually the bastard love child of Blazing Lasers on the TurboGrafx-16 as well as Power Strike on the Sega Master System. Here's Blazing Lasers. And here's Power Strike. Space Megaforce also has super long levels just like Blazing Lasers and Power Strike. However, level 3 is crazy short for some weird ass reason. Does this game have any originality onto itself? Well, maybe the Mode 7-ness of Stage 2 could be considered unique. Oh, look at this. You know what this reminds me of? That's right, Blazing Lasers. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this game sucks because it's very similar to Blazing Lasers or anything, it just seems kind of uncanny at times. The graphics are good and definitely get the job done, though they aren't outstanding or anything. The music is also pretty good, but in all honesty, Blazing Lasers has the better music. Actually, so does Power Strike. This game is good and definitely worth tracking down, but it is absolutely overrated.
And overpriced.
Firepower 2000 is an interesting little game. You drive a Jeep around on the ground, but it definitely qualifies as a shooter. You can lock your weapons in any direction simply by holding down the fire button. You can also jump in the air at any time, just like a real Jeep. The gameplay is pretty fast and frenetic.
Tell me about it. There's quite a bit going on all at the same time.
Yeah, it's not easy by any means, and you will definitely know when you die. Blam! Oh, and did I mention that there are no continues? Like Space Megaforce, the stages are super incredibly long. What is it with Super Nintendo shooters and incredibly long stages? There really isn't anything special about the graphics or sounds though. I wonder why nobody ever bought this game back in the day. Was it the lame name of the game that did it? Was it the box art? Or perhaps because a company like Storm Sales Curve sounded too corporate and stuffy for gamers of the day?
My answer is D, all of the above.
Still, it's definitely worth picking up if you can find it for cheap. Axlay is a fantastic shooter by Konami. We talked about this game back in episode 14 when it was chosen as part of a random battle, but it does deserve a special quick mention here in this episode. The game consists of both vertical and horizontally scrolling levels. Personally, I like the horizontal stages much better. The graphics are great for the most part, and the music is definitely excellent. Why isn't there a sound test in this game as well? Screw you, Konami! Still, the levels are a bit slower and longer than they should be in most cases, I think.
Whatever, Joe. You're just jealous that this isn't on the Genesis.
Actually, not really, but Axlay should be in every Super Nintendo owner's collection.
Wow, Joe, you're right. Those are definitely some interesting selections there, but I'm not going to say they're more interesting. I'm just going to say that it goes to show that the Super Nintendo is by far the best system for shooters.
No, it isn't. No,
Wow. Well, I can't argue with that. I mean, because it definitely isn't, as everybody knows. So, but there are definitely a handful of great games, great shooters out there.
Absolutely true. And we'll be back next week when we take a look at something as of yet undecided.
Ooh, I can't wait. That sounds great.
Yeah, and until then, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Science Day.
See you later. Oh, Merry Christmas, man.
I got you something.
Yeah, I got you one too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice.
Sweet. Cool. Can't wait to see what this is.
I love it.
UPS box, nice. Love UPS. Utopia. Creation of a nation.
Ha! Aerobiz unopened.
I've been wanting this.
So I don't know what to say. How'd you know? You know, I've.
Yeah, I think this was on my list. I don't know.
I don't know. What do you think here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.